So now we are going to work on parameter cursor. Okay, so all of you know that what is the cursor and how we can go to handle the cursor while using the loops. Okay, so now let us we are going to work with parameter cursor. Okay, so parameter cursor means all of you know that what is the parameter. The parameter is nothing but passing a value at runtime, that is nothing but a parameter, right? So now we are going to pass this parameter in cursor level. Okay, in cursor program, that is nothing but a parameter cursor. So let us we are going to work on this program and how this parameter cursor is going to working in your real life also. So let us here observe. Passing a parameter in cursor is call it as a parameter cursor. Passing a parameter in cursor is call it as a parameter cursor. That is enough for that definition of parameter cursor. And here up to now, how we declare the cursor, all of you know already. I told you we never create the cursor, we declare the cursor only. So where we declare the cursor, in declaration session we are going to declare the cursor, right? So here cursor, cursor name, cursor name is select start from emp or select start from table. That is a simple cursor, that is a simple cursor. But here what is the difference between a simple cursor or parameter cursor? So in this point of time here, if you want to pass the parameter within the cursor, then automatically we call it as a parameter cursor. But definitely we are going to specify the parameter in var class. Which is the parameter we can specify into the cursor, that parameter we are going to specify into the var class. Then only the parameter is going to execute it successfully and match that parameter and retrieve the data from the database. So all of you, then whenever we are going to work on any PLSQL program, PLSQL program is lot of lines, but finally the PLSQL program is execute the only logic. What is the logic means? Query. If the query is working properly, then automatically the program is going to working fine. If the query does not working properly, the program definitely does not working, right? So here what is the logic means? Observe this one. First I declare the variables are cursor in declaration session. Here cursor name and pass the parameter. So p is indicate the parameter p dept number. So which is the value you want to pass? The respected dept number I want to pass. Okay, and based on this parameter, okay, so the cursor is having the parameter is select star from emp where dept number equal to the respected parameter, which is we define into the cursor level, and next we want to require one variable which is store the data whenever we are going to retrieve the data from the cursor. So for that purpose we are going to declare a one variable which is indicate the percentage row type. Already I told you what is the use of percentage row type. It is refer the all columns data types which are having in that respected employee table. All columns data types is assigned to that respected variable, right? That next begin. So once we start the begin, then here the actual execution is started. So first what we do, so we have a cursor, right? Now what we do, we are going to open it. We want to open the cursor. So whatever it may be, whenever we are working on the PLSQL program, if the program is having the cursor, definitely we want to open it. Okay, it is not implicit cursor, right? It is an explicit cursor. If it is an implicit cursor, automatically system is going to open by the cursor. But here it is explicit. We are declare the cursor in declaration session. Definitely we are going to open the cursor. Once we open the cursor, then next automatically we want to do that looping, means a cycling process. So that loop will going to enable here. Okay, so the simple loop. Okay, next what we do, once we open the door in a cursor, means once we open the door in a box, we want to pick the items from the box. So what we do here also same thing. We have a open to the respected cursor and we'll be going to start the looping and fetch the data into where we are going to fetch the data. We are fetching the data from the cursor and move into variable. What is that variable? So that here we define the variable. So finally we are going to exit. We clearly tell to the machine without writing exit, automatically it is getting filed. Automatically it is getting filed. So already we worked on this program in earlier session with the cursor program, cursor example, right? Simple loop cursor example, the same program, but along with that program we are going to implement it which logic, the parameter. Okay, that is enough for this one, right? So exit when the cursor does not have the data. Whenever the cursor is reached to all records, the final record, automatically it is come outside from the program. The loop is going to come outside from the program. Finally it is going to print the values which are available in our variable. Finally we close the loop, means stop the loop, and close the cursor and end the program. Okay, let us, I am going to execute this program and you can get the clarity. So first of all I want to set the environment for this respected SQL prompt. Set pages, set lines, and also set server output on. So now I want to clear the screen and check any one of the table whether it is show as a proper data or not. Yes, perfectly it is show as proper output. So now what we do, we want to develop a one program. So let us here observe this one. First of all I want to develop a simple program which is having a cursor. After that I want to implement the parameter cursor. Okay, yesterday also we developed this one, again I want to show you. So first of all we want to declare, so cursor name is select star from emp. Okay, this respected cursor is getting the data from the table and keep into the cursor buffer area. Next we define the one variable, it is indicate percentage row type. Okay, then next we start the begin. Once we start the execution process, first of all we open the cursor. Once we open the cursor, next we start the looping. Once we start the looping, then next we are going to fetch the data from the cursor. Fetch C1. Fetch the data from cursor where we want to move it into I. Fetch C1 into I. Okay, and also we clearly tell to the machine when the respected loop is going to come out from the program. Exit when C1 percentage not found. Whenever the respected cursor doesn't have the data, automatically the program looping is going to exit from the program. The next, now I want to print the data. dbms output dot put line. So I dot mp number, I dot ename. So where the respected columns are located in I variable, right? First all data is going to move into the cursor. Next open the cursor and the data will be going to move into the variable. All data will be picking from cursor and move into the variable. Then we clearly tell to the whenever the respected cursor doesn't have the data, then we come out from the program. The next, so here we are going to, what we do, we close the loop and close the cursor and end the program. Automatically it shows proper information which are available in our employee table, right? The same program we are going to implement a parameter. Here observe this one. Before going to implement the cursor, just I want to implement some condition in this cursor. What is my condition is, here I am going to apply the condition where job equal to clerk, where job equal to clerk. So what happened here, Now I want to execute this procedure, sorry, execute this program. Which information we are getting? We are getting only clerk's information. So here it is having, and also I want to print clerk information, I dot job, right? So we are getting only clerk. So here I'm going to specify the condition from where? In where class in select query. Where class in select query. Suppose next, observe this one. Here I don't want to pass it anything. Okay, I want to pass as a parameter. What is this indicate? Ampersand. It is indicate to ask to us at runtime the value. Runtime value it is asking to us, right? There. Now we execute it. First it is asking the job. Now I'm going to specify manager. Okay. Then here we are giving the manager. So again it is invalid. Okay, fine. There. Now automatically we are getting the manager information. So why we are getting this error? Don't get any confusion. Here clearly tell to us where exactly you done a mistake. Already we specify the colon here. Okay, again at runtime you are giving the same column. So here I am giving that column. That is the reason it is getting the error. Double time it is indicate, automatically it is indicate the error. So clearly it is highlight the star symbol where exactly you done a mistake, right? And again we are going to give the same information, but we are getting the error. So why? Because we are missing the quotation. Without giving the quotation, system does not understand whether it is a character or number. So that is the reason we are giving the only within the quotation the respected manager, right? So here let us, I am going to explain to you clearly. So what is the program of this one and this one? So here very simple program. Okay, then so what happened here? So here what I'm going to do, so this is our database. Okay, in our database we have the tables. I'm going to choose only one example, that is a employee table. That is a employee table. Clear? Then now I'm going to develop the program where? In block level. So in block level I'm going to develop the program. So here this is the block. So here I'm going to develop the program. Let us observe this one. What I'm going to write here: declare cursor name is select star from emp. Okay, and next we are going to define one variable emp percentile row type. Okay, then next we are going to execute the program. Begin, first we open the cursor and start the loop and fetch the data. Fetch c1 into I, and clearly explain to you exit when c1 percentile not found. And next here we print the data DOPL dbms output dot put line So I dot employee number or something like that. I'm specifying only one. And next we close the loop, end the loop, and close the cursor and end the program. So this is the program we want to develop. So where exactly the cursor is located? The cursor is available in this respected area, right? Now, so just 1 second. So this is the block level. So whenever we develop the PLSQL program within the block, in this block, it is automatically create a cursor, right? It is a buffer area. It is a buffer area. Buffer area is nothing but a cursor, right? Now, whenever we execute this program, the respected SQL engine is connected with our database and get this employee data and will be keeping this cursor, right? So now this respected cursor is having which data? Employee information. Employee information. Observe carefully. Then now the system is going to start to declare the session. We declare the cursor. What is our cursor name? C1. So here it is generated one buffer area and get the data from here. What exactly we want to expect from this cursor? Select cursor, cursor name is select star from EMP. Whenever we specify this condition, automatically system is getting the data from database and keep into cursor. Keep into cursor, right? So this is the cursor. The cursor is having the EMP data. How much data we have? 14 records of data we have, right? 14 records of data we have. Then now we are going to declare one variable. So why we want to declare the variable? So we are not possible to print the data directly from the cursor. We don't have that logic also. We don't want to follow that respected mechanism also. And we cannot possible to print the data directly from the cursor. So definitely we want to use the variable and keep the data, which is the data is coming the cursor, coming from the cursor, the data we want to hold in variable only. So for that purpose, we want to choose this variable and that variable will be assigned one respected data type, reference data type, or as a PLSQL data type is row type. So this variable is going to assigned to all data types which are having employee table. Next, the system is going to start the execution process begin. So first, this word is going to read by the system. It is executed. Next, it is go to the next line, open C1. So this is the cursor. The cursor is having employee table, which is having 14 records. So this is a nothing but a cursor open terminology. Okay. So for your understand purpose, I am going to specify this one. This will be call it as a just as per our terminology, we call it as a door. Okay, open door. So first I want to open the C1. Now I want to open this one. So system is going to open this respected cursor. Okay, once it is open, now the machine is going to enter into the cursor. So here in this cursor we have a employee table and also we have 14 records, right? Now it is going to start the looping and it is going to assign the functionality of the looping. Fetch C1 into I. So fetching means we are going to picking. So as per our terminology we call it as a picking, and as per the computer terminology they are going to call it as a fetching. Okay, so fetching means fetch C1 into I. So the terminology means fetch the data from employee table in cursor. Fetch the data from employee table in cursor and will be moved into I. So now the respected cursor data is entire cursor data will be moving into variable. Now where the data is there? In variable only. In variable. Next we are going to, so here up to 14 records, the 14 records will be going to move into I variable. Next, here we are going to understand. Okay, so when exactly the cursor is going to come outside, so we clearly tell to the machine exit. We clearly tell to the machine exit when cursor doesn't have the data. not found. Not found means without any data. Whenever the respected cursor is completed the 14 records, then the cursor is going to go to the 15th record. The 15th record doesn't have, means it is a null. So if it is a null, automatically data does not there. So if the data not there, automatically loop is exit. So that is the condition is executed in the next line. So finally we are going to print the message, okay, print the data. So which are the data is there in variable. So in variable we have 14 records that data, that 14 records will be printed as a output and will be close the end loop. So this loop will be going to close and open and close and end the program. So finally we are going to print the 14 records, right? Observe this one. These 14 records are which query is going to executed for this 14 records? This query only. If the query is executed properly, what are the information is going to getting from the database? That data only we are going to print it. If the query is going to done any wrong, the program does not working properly. Suppose say example, if you are missing star symbol or if you are specifying some other information in this query, if the query is working fine, enter this program, enter around 10 lines is there. In that 10 lines the respected query line is working fine, then only we are getting the data. Okay, so now next example is we want to retrieve a proper information. I don't want to retrieve the all information from the table. So here how we are going to do that? In this point of time, say example, I want to retrieve the particular department data, or I want to retrieve the particular employee data, only a single employee data, or I want to retrieve the particular job information, or I want to retrieve the employees information who are joined into the same date, only one date. So this respected, or I want to retrieve the a particular manager information. Okay, so whatever it may be, that query is going to execute it perfectly. Automatically the program is also executed perfectly. So here the next level means next program also we done. What is the program is here? In the first program we are going to print the all information. Okay, in the second program we are going to print the a particular information. Here first I am going to execute this query. So here observe carefully. Now I am going to specify the condition. Here I am going to write it where job equal to clerk, where job equal to clerk. So here this is the job. Whenever we are going to execute this query our program, the table means here what is the query is indicated, select store from emp where job equal to clerk. How many records we are getting? We are not getting all records from the table. We are getting only the respected information who are the working as a clerk in our employee table. That data only picking from the database. In employee table, okay, in employee table we have 14 records, but as a clerk how many employees are working? As a clerk only 4 members are working. That 4 members information only picking from the database and will be going to keep here. So totally how many data, how many records we are getting? So we are getting only 4 records. So when we are going to execute this query, when we are going to execute this query, right? So here at runtime it is executed and get the 4 records of data. That 4 records will be going to printed here, printed here. So here observe carefully. As per this point of time, I have a one question. What is my question is, if you specify the clerk directly, it is going to print the clerk information. But as I told you, it is going to picking only 4 records. But here it is not a correct. Whenever we are going to specify the cursor and the table, the respected entire data, which are the data is there in database, everything will be going to keep into our table. Say example. So here, so why? Because if in case we don't have the 14, suppose say example, if it is a clerk, then we are getting only clerk information, right? But here, what exactly I want to explain to you, we have a 14 records, but the 14 records doesn't have in our employee table because of the condition is job. But here it is not a correct answer. Whenever we are going to declare the cursor, that 14 records is going to keep into the cursor level, means buffer area. 14 records will be there. From these 14 records, it is going to picking only job information. It is not picking only 4 records. It is picking all information from database and will be keep into the cursor area. So from here only it is going to filter the data. Why? Because so in that the program, whenever we specify the job equal to clerk, so how many records it is printed for, right? Suppose say example at runtime I'm going to as a some parameter. Suppose I'm going to give the job is a manager. That manager is also getting from the respected table. Okay, so that manager, if you give the manager, it is picking from the manager information. If you give the respected clerk, then it is getting the clerk information. If you give the salesman information is going to coming from the cursor. But each and every time the machine, the SQL engine does not communicate with the database. Only one time it is communicate, and all records will be keep into the cursor area and will be going to get the data from the cursor only. Okay, so here as per that value runtime parameter, then it is going to filter the data from cursor and display into the as a output. Okay, so finally we are going to end loop and close the cursor. So finally we are going to close it. Once the data is going to completed, we close the cursor, right, and end the program. Once it is end, then the program is completed and print the data which are available in our respected variable, variable. So one second, hold on the line. Then, so this is the way we are going to implement the respected cursor with normal parameter, right? So here the same scenario here directly I am going to apply the condition. If you specify the parameter, okay, if you specify the runtime parameter, means runtime parameter, how we indicate? While using ampersand. So here if you give the job, whatever it may be, the parameter name you can give it. At runtime it is asked the job. If you give the clerk, then it is getting the clerk information. If you give the manager, we are getting the manager information. Clear? So this is the way we are going to work on this respected normal parameter. But what is the cursor parameter or parameter cursor, right? So whenever we are implement the parameter within the cursor, that is called as a parameter cursor. Right now also we have a parameter, right? We have a parameter, but it is not a parameter cursor. Whenever we are specify the parameter within the cursor, that is only parameter cursor. Okay, it is a simple program. Only the program contains the parameter. Okay, the program is having the cursor, but it is not a parameter cursor. When we are going to specify the parameter cursor in our program level, okay, parameter level, sorry, cursor level, that is called as a parameter cursor. So let us, we are going to work on this respected parameter cursor. Then we are going to specify the parameter name within the cursor, right? So let us, now I'm going to do that. So go to here. So here I'm going to specify the cursor name. Observe carefully. So now I'm going to specify the cursor and parameter name. So what exactly you want to pass the parameter? So here I'm going to pass job. So P is a parameter, is a job. Okay, parameter job. Okay, and what is this? We are clearly indicate the cursor. What is the data type of this job? Okay, or parameter. There. So once we are going to specify here, now we are going to specify that respected parameter, which is we specifying to the cursor, that only we are going to specify here. Okay, then now we are going to specify. We don't want to pass any ampersand. We don't want to pass any ampersand, right? So which is the parameter we pass in our cursor level, the same exact name will be passed into the where class. So that is indicated as a parameter cursor. Okay, it is not a means a normal parameter. If it is a normal parameter, we indicate the ampersand. Okay, if the cursor parameter, we directly specify the parameter name in where class. Let us, we are going to execute this one and we'll be check it. Then so what happened? Wrong number of types of arguments equal to C1. Yes. So here we are asking the parameter in this one. This cursor is, we are have the cursor along with parameter. But here what we do? We open the cursor, but we didn't tell to the machine whether the parameter is there or not in our cursor. Let us clear that. And now we are going to pass the value at the time of open the cursor. Pass the value at the time of open the cursor. Because at the time of open the cursor only we are going to decide which are the records we are going to fetching from the respected cursor. So now we are going to open C1. C1 means cursor is having the parameter. What is the parameter we have? So we have a job is clerk, right? Job is clerk. Now the cursor is going to open and find out the only clerk information from the cursor. Fetch the data from the cursor and print it. Right? But here I directly assign the cursor parameter name in our respected program. But I want to change the cursor parameter names at runtime. Okay, here I want to pass this one this way. Okay, then job. So what we do? It is asking the job name. Then now I'm going to pass manager. We are getting the manager information. Suppose now I'm giving salesman information and president information, right? Suppose say example I'm giving some another information CEO. We don't have any CEO, right? That is the reason it doesn't retrieve any data, and also it doesn't show us any kind of information. We don't have any CEO job, but it is clearly show us program is successfully completed, and it doesn't return any information, right? So this is the way we are going to implement the cursor. So please keep in our mind, whenever we are going to specify the parameter in cursor, definitely we are going to clearly specify that parameter in where class. The same parameter we are going to specify in open the cursor. If you are missing the parameter in open cursor, it is not working fine. It does not understand which data is going to picking from the cursor. That is the reason. So here observe, if it is not working, if it is not clearly tell to the cursor name, okay, here, then here cursor C1 everything will be fine, the data is there in our cursor. But in this open C1 here we are getting the problem. We clearly tell to the machine, so you are going to picking so and so data only. So now based on that parameter, the query, this logic is executed, and once the execution is working fine and get the data, proper data from the program, and show the output of our report, program, right? So this is the way we are going to work on parameter cursor. Okay, so here, and also observe this one, we have a job, and here it is the same program, but here what exactly we are going to do? I want to display the program, I want to display the records which are having the multiple parameter values. Means here same program, open C1. First I want to pass the parameter is manager. Okay, we specify the direct manager information. One second, somebody is asking the doubt. So in this program, but earlier program we specify only one job, and also we are going to pass as a parameter, and will be give the job name as a parameter at runtime. Okay, so now what we are going to do? So now I want to pass multiple values within one program and retrieve the multiple category information from the table based upon only one parameter. Based upon only one parameter means same data will be going to write it in multiple times. Then here, so open C1, everything will be fine here up to end loop, close C1. Again what I am going to do, open cursor. Again I'm going to open the cursor, means multiple. First time I'm going to picking manager information from the cursor, second time I'm going to picking clerk information from the cursor. Okay, that is the difference between the first program and this program. Not a problem, I will explain to you. So here clerk. Okay, first it is going to print the clerk information, then up to close. Okay, once the cursor is closed here, once the cursor is closed, don't close that, don't end the program. End always we are going to write in the last line, right? Don't end the program and will be continue with our open cursor, continue with our open cursor. Then after closing, so here close the cursor or not, yes, close the cursor, and again we open the cursor and close the cursor, then again open same information C1, but here I'm giving manager, and start the loop, fetch C1 into I, exit when C1 percentile not found, dbms output dot apply I dot employee number, I dot ename, I dot job. Next we close the loop and close the cursor and end the program. Same program I'm going to write multiple times. Is it possible to get the multiple data in one correction? Somebody is asking the question is, sir, is it possible to get the multiple data in one condition? Same, that is the reason I'm going to write this one. Okay, so here I'm going to apply only one condition, but I'm getting multiple data, clerk and manager. Is it right, or is there any another? We have already ampersand to pass the value at runtime. So what is the use of parameterized cursor? What is that? So this ampersand is indicate. Somebody is asking one question. What is the question is, we have already used ampersand to pass the values at runtime. So what is the use of parameter cursor? So if you pass this ampersand, if you pass this ampersand cursor, ampersand, it is a just a parameter indication. Okay, it is not a parameter cursor. Okay, so what happened that if you specify that, based on that only we are going to retrieve the data from the database. But in this point of time, we clearly tell to the machine, means we are going to filter the data in cursor level, filter the data in cursor level, based on that parameter cursor only it is executed. So here, clear on that? Somebody is raise a question on that. So ampersand means always indicate it is a normal parameter only, but it is not a parameter cursor. Parameter cursor means it is one of the part in our cursor level. Okay, if you specify the ampersand wherever you want to execute the values at runtime multiple times, so at the time we definitely are going to use the ampersand. That is a simple parameter. It is not a cursor parameter. Cursor parameter we clearly tell to the SQL engine, this is the so and so cursor parameter I want to pass at runtime. So here, if you specify here also the symbol, it is indicate the respected cursor value. Clear? Okay. So now we are going to execute this program. Once we execute this program, which information we are getting? Multiple information. We are getting multiple information, right? So the respected multiple information we are getting from this respected output. So how many records, how many categorized information we are getting from this program? Two types of categorization, right? One is a clerk information, another one is manager information. There. So now I want to execute this one. There. So we are getting both information, clerk and manager. But always here we execute the logic is only one record of the logic. Based on that logic, the entire program is going to work. But the program is going to show us 20 lines. Lot of the people, so what is the logic you are going to write here? Here the logic is only one, that is a select star from EMP where job equal to parameter cursor. That is the logic. This entire program is going to work on this respected condition, right? Here we don't have anything. This entire thing will be going to is having the some extension of the program. Okay, this entire program is depend on this respected first query in declaration session. Okay, so this execution is going to depend upon our logic will be implemented. Okay, so this is the way we are going to work on this respected parameter cursor. Then next we can go for cursor with for loop. So up to now we didn't use any respected for loop, right? So before that, 1 second. So the next topic is cursor with for loop. So what is this cursor with for loop means? Up to now we didn't implement any for loop, right? But we implement loop, but we didn't implement the for loop. So what is the use of this for loop and what is the advantage of this for loop? What is the advantage of this for loop? So what is the advantage means here, if you specify the loop, okay, simple loop, we clearly tell to the machine the exit condition. Without writing exit condition, the system does not understand where exactly it is come out from the program. The loop is going to come out from the program. But here, if you use the for loop, observe this one. In cursor, for loop no need to open or fetch or close by the cursor. Are we clear on this? In cursor for loop, no need to open the cursor, no need to fetching the data from the cursor, no need to close the cursor by the user. For loop itself automatically will perform all these functionalities. So what are the cursor functionalities? Open the cursor and fetch the data from the cursor and close the cursor. These are all are the cursor activities or cursor functionalities. Here, so earlier program, the respected program is having around 10 to 15 lines of coding, right? The same program I'm going to print it while using for loop within 7 to 8 records, 7 to 8 lines of coding, right? So here observe carefully, cursor name is select star from EMP. Cursor name is select star from EMP. So everything is same begin, but here I'm using for loop. So already I told you it is not a individual variable, it is a for variable. It is a for variable, right? So now the respected data for I in C1 loop, for I in C1 loop, I will be print the data. Let us, so very simple, we don't want to open the cursor, we don't want to fetch the data from the cursor, we don't want to close the cursor, means we don't want to concentrate on the cursor activities. Everything will be going to done by the system. So automatically our work is going to reduce while going to implement the cursor with for loop, but same data is going to getting from the database. So here Now I'm going to write declare cursor name, select start from EMP. And first of all, I don't want to declare the variable. Okay, let us first we declare the variable and we'll be check it. Begin for I in C1. For I in C1 and loop. So here somebody is asking the question, what is the difference between normal variable and for variable? So normal variable means it is an individual variable. If you want to store the any value, both are same, but for variable no need to declare the variable in declaration session. Both are also variables, but this for variable is a syntax variable. The respected for is having the syntax variable, that is I, and in this respected I means it is an individual variable. So let us, I will be completed the program and will be asked the question. So now I will give the clarity on this one. First of all, we will finish the program and then you can ask the question. Okay. So here for I in C1 loop, just I am going to explain to you whether it is having the one variable without one variable also. Then finally, I am going to print the data dbms output dot put line. So right now where the data is there in I dot in emp number. Then finally we close the program. Okay, and let us check it. So and loop and observe here. Now I'm using one variable. I'm using one variable in this declaration session, but I'm going to print the data from here. I dot in. Now I want to remove this variable and execute the program. Do you have any changes here? So here, what exactly the meaning of this one? If already variable is there in our syntax level, so why we want to define one more variable for this one? So here we are not using that variable in our program level, right? Let us, I will explain to you. If in case here I am using I variable, but here I am using one more variable, that name is A. Okay, that name is A emp percentage time. So now you tell me, both are same? It is in, both are not same, right? It is an individual variable and it is a for variable. Now where the data is located? The data is located in A or I? The data is located in I only, right? So here, yes, exactly. So the data is located into the I variable. The data does not located in this one. So actually here in this program level we done some mistake. This variable no need to require to define in this program. Whenever we are using the for loop in our program, we no need to declare the variable in declaration session. Directly we are going to use the variable in for level, right? So have we clear on this question? So earlier somebody is asking the question between normal variable and for variable. Yes, okay. So now we are going to implement it and we'll be going to execute this one. So this variable no need to required. So observe this one, the same program we are implemented in earlier program. That earlier program is having around 10 to 12 lines of coding. The same printing, the same output will be generated while using only 5 to 7 lines, 5 to 7 lines of the coding. So it's clear. So here exit and execute the program, right? So let us, I will explain to you, because of it's a for loop, it's a very important topic. For loop is a very important topic in our life. career also. So here what happened, just I'm going to, so we have a PLSQL block. So what exactly we are going to do, declare cursor name is select star from empty, right? And then next we start the begin. So here we don't want to open the cursor, right? Directly for I in C1. Is it possible to use cursor parameter? Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Okay, whatever it may be. Somebody is asking one question. What is the question? Is it possible to use cursor parameter in for loop? Everything is possible. It is the extension of the cursor, right? Parameter cursor and for loop. For every topic, I'm going to implement one program. All activities will be going to be implemented in one program also. Clear? Okay, so everything will be possible to do that in one program, but here I'm going to explain individual way, then only you can easily understand. Suppose say example, I'm going to implement all logics in within one program, definitely you are getting confusion. So which logic is implemented first, which logic is going to execute it first? That is the reason I'm going to explain the way of individual logics. Okay, so for I in C1, and then we start the loop. So now I'm going to start the loop from here, or here also we can start the loop, nothing to worry. And finally we print the message devopl. So I dot emp number, and we start the loop and we close the loop and end the program. So here also what happened, we have a database. In this database we have a table, right? Whenever the SQL engine is communicate with our database, this respected data will be keep into cursor level. Okay, this is the cursor and this is the employee table. How many records? 14 records. Now observe this one, we have a cursor name is select star from emp, is select star from emp. Once we execute this query, okay, automatically it is generate one buffer area and get the data in this respected. Next we start the begin, and now here we don't want to open it. For is going to do the activities of open the cursor and fetch the data from the cursor and close the cursor. Everything will be going to done by the for loop itself only. So here what is the use of this one? It is a syntax of for loop. What is the syntax of for loop? For variable in starting edge and ending edge. Okay, starting edge and ending edge. But here we don't want to give the any condition. Automatically it is going to picking how many records are there in our table, in our cursor level. All data will be going to pick it. We don't want to specify starting and ending edge. That is the reason we are using the cursor level. Okay, so for I in cursor, so entire cursor data, right now the data is available in cursor. First data is available from here, table to means buffer area, means buffer area to cursor level, buffer area to cursor level, next cursor to variable. Right now where the data in I variable, so that is the reason I'm using the I variable here. So finally we are going to print the message from I variable. Then what are the data, what are the information is there in I variable, that will be printed into the respected final output. Okay, so this is the use of for variable. So which is the best one, simple loop or for loop? For loop is the compared to simple loop, for loop is the most powerful and most frequently we are using in our real life. Okay, so that is the reason every program is required the for loop. It is automatically pick the all data, how many data is there in our respected table. Okay, there. So this is the way we are going to implement the for loop. Then next I have a one more question. What is the question? Means nested cursor with for loop. nested cursor with for loop. Somebody is asking the question earlier class, have we possible to use the multiple cursors in one program? Absolutely. So this is the program is example of that question, right? Definitely we can possible to use the multiple programs, multiple cursors in one program. Why? Because in real life we have so many programs are there, and also we have so many tables are involved in one program. We are involved, sorry, we have to involve so many programs in one program, right? So in this point of time, say example, in Oracle application, suppose if you want to discuss, already some people are completed Oracle application, so that people easily understand in PO. If you worked on PO, how many tables are involved? Four tables, right? Definitely we are using four types of cursors. If you go to work done requisition task, we are going to involve three tables. If you go to work done AP, invoice tables, again three tables are. So depends upon our requirement, we are going to use the multiple cursors in one program, right? So this is the best example for multiple cursors. But here, what is the means respected cursor? Suppose here, observe this one. I have two cursor which are having same data. One for the first one is the DEPT data, second one is the employee data. But first we are going to write it to both cursors without having any join, and after that we are giving the join. It is not a join; it is a parameter. Okay, let us, we are going to print it and we'll be going to execute it. Begin inc1 loop and will be print the respected first data information. Again I am going to open the for loop and j in respected second cursor information, and will be going to start the loop and print the data, and finally we close the end loop and end the program. So now I am going to implement this program in multiple means several types of examples. Let us now we are going to work on that. Declare cursor c1 is select star from the EPT. Next, cursor d1 is c2 is select star from EMP. I don't want to give the any condition. First let us we check it without giving condition, with giving the condition. What is the difference? Next, begin for I in c1. This c1 is going to print the DEPT data. DBMS output line. Which information? I dot DEPT number, I dot D name, I dot location. Next we are going to open one more loop for j in c2. Again we start the loop, dbms output line, j dot emp number, j dot e name, j dot job. So finally close the end loop, and again I'm going to close the end loop and close the program. Let us check it. What happened? How many records we are going to print here? How many records are printed here? Why it is retrieved this much of data? Actually in the EPT we have only 4 records. In the employee we have 14 records. 14 plus 4, how many records? 18 records only. But the program is going to show us number of times, means the program is going to return how many records, around 60 records is going to retrieve, 56 something like that. Okay, so why we are going to getting this much of, we should exit condition, where we are going to use the exit condition here. We no need to require to specify the exit condition, because of for is going to handle everything. Okay, let us, I will explain to you clearly. Okay, then fine. What is the problem here? First, it is going to, at the time of looping here, the same program I'm going to do the some little bit of changes. Now how many records? Is it show proper data, or it is going to show us any unnecessary data? So how it is going to execute it here? In the first one, in the first program, it is show us multiple times. So because of first time it doesn't show us any proper information. Let us, I'm going to write a uh, means a program and will be clearly explained to you. Okay, then you can get the clarity. Okay, so but it is a correct data, but in this earlier program also we are getting the correct data, but the looping is missing, the way of looping is missing. That is the reason we are getting unnecessary data, means it is repeat the data, duplicate data is repeated, but now we are not getting the duplicate data, right? Now I will explain to you, so how the respected loop is, for loop is executed in our program. Yeah. So here, okay, let us, now I'm going to declare cursor, cursor name is select star from, sorry, dept cursor, second cursor employee. So first we write a begin. So how many cursors we have? Two cursors, right? Begin for I in C1, okay, and we start the loop and print the message dopl I dot dept number. Okay, just I'm going to use only one column again. So here I'm going to start the for j in C2 loop. I don't want to close this loop in the first loop, so I have multiple loops in this program. For j in, this is nothing but a nested loop, loop within the loop. This is the main loop. In this loop we have another loop. For j in C2 loop, dopl uh, employee number. Then finally we close the end loop. Again we close the end loop and end the program. Here this is the database, right? So we have a communication between database and PLSQL block. So here we have two cursors. One is C1 cursor, one is C2 cursor. In C1 cursor we have DEPT data. In C2 cursor we have employee data. So now understand, okay? Then here we have two cursors in our program. One cursor is having the EPT data, one cursor is having EMP data. So here both the data is there in our respective data. Now first I'm going to start the looping from here. So the respected DEP data is moving into I variable. Respected EMP data will be moved to J variable. For INC1 loop, now loop is started. DOPL I dot DEPT number. So here in DEPT, how many records we have? We have 4 records or 5 records. I thought 5 records. And in employee we have 14 records, right? So first the loop is started. It is print the first data. Means in DEPT we have 5 records, right? The what is the first record? 10th record. So 10th department. And here it does not print the all data in this respected loop because of we are not close this loop. So still go to next loop. First this loop is open. First print the first record. Next go to second loop. In this second loop, how many records are there? 14 records, right? 14 records. Then here observe this one. Loop within the loop. This is the main loop, and in this another loop is there. So here this loop is going to execute each and everything properly. Observe this one. First, which one is printed? This is going to print it. Next, the inner loop is executed and print the all records of the inner loop. Print the all records of the inner loop. So how many records are there in inner loop? Okay, inner loop we have 14 records, right? That 14 records are printed here. So 1, 2, 3. So entire inner loop is completed. Now go to close this one. Then again, without writing any condition, go to the first level. So once the inner loop is completed, next again it is go to for loop, the main loop. Again in that main loop it is going to find out how many records are there. The first record already printed, and the second record. What is the second record? 20. And come to the inner loop. In that inner loop, how many records? Inner loop, everything will be going to execute. Again 1, 2, 3, something like that. Then once the inner loop is going to complete the data, then it is go to the again main loop. In that main loop, how many records? 10 are completed, 20 are completed, 30th is going to print it, and it is considered as the first record and will be come to here. Again it is printed all data there. Again inner completed, then go back to main loop. So main loop or child loop. Okay, so outer loop is going to having another value 40th and print the inner loop. Again the last one 50th, again the records. Okay, so this is the way you are going to execute it. Why? Because the respected main loop does not close here. So if you close this main loop, means individual loops, suppose here I am going to write it end loop. Okay, here I am going to close this one. Okay, not this one, this one. This one is going to close here. This loop only there. Okay, this is looping is ending with here. This loop is going to ending with here. So here what happened? We don't have any relation between this loop to this loop, this loop to this loop. So we are going to directly execute two loops individually. First we are going to print the first loop. Means here we are not treat as a outer loop and inner loop. Individual loops is there. If the loop does not close within the loop, so that will be called it as a inner loop and outer loop. But here we don't have any relation. So this is going to print the 4 records. What is the 4 records of the first loop? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and will be going to close the end loop. Next go to another loop. In this for loop we have around 14 records, 1, 2, 3, 4, something up to 14 records is going to printed and close the end loop. So and close the program. But here we don't have any relation between this loop and this loop. That is the reason individually you are going to print it. But if you maintain the relation between, suppose if you maintain the end loop, if you are not close the end loop within the loop, at that time definitely we want to maintain the condition. Based on that condition only, whenever we are going to uh, maintain the inner loop within the loop, at that time we are going to maintain the relation between this first loop to second loop, first loop to second loop. So for that purpose we want to use the parameter cursor. For that purpose we want to use the parameter. So parameter means a join condition, right? So based on that it is going to execute it. Are we clear on this? Are we clear for this one? Yes. Now let us okay, fine. So here observe this one. Now I want to generate the link between main loop and child loop. Okay, master loop and child loop, then automatically it is going to show us clear, even though this is also not a proper data, right? It is going to show us only 10th master data and child data, means individual data, DEPT data and employee data. But my requirement is 10th department how many employees are working. Okay, 20th department how many employees are working. That is the output I want to expect from this program. That is the output we want to expect from this program. So how we can go to do that? How we can go to do that? So for that purpose we are going to maintain the relation between from one cursor to another cursor. So here what exactly I'm going to pass here? DEPT number as a key column in the employee table. Okay, so that number is going to pass here. Okay, so here I'm going to pass. First one is we are going to print the DEPT data. Based on that we are going to pass into the second one. So first we are getting the data from the DEPT, so everything will be there. So next that data will be going to print into the, so in this second cursor I clearly pass which data. First parameter means first variable data will be passed into the second one, means we generate the join or we generate the relation between that one cursor to another cursor. So which is the DEPT number we are going to getting from here, the same DEPT number as a parameter in this second loop. Okay, let us, I will explain to you. I want to do some changes here. So here we want to pass the parameter, which one? PD number, parameter D number. So it is a parameter. Okay, so where DEPT number equal to PD number. Clear? So first of all we want to print this respected DEPT number data, or else if you want to print the all data, sorry, all data. And here I don't want to close this loop. If you close this one it is a individual, again it is going to having the same data. So in this second loop, then here we are going to pass the DEPT number which is coming from the first cursor, first for loop. What is the first loop, first for loop? I dot DEPT number, I dot DEPT number, right? So now automatically it is going to getting the respected parameter. Based on that parameter it is going to print here. Based on that parameter it is going to print here, right? So here, and okay, what is the parameter, everything. Okay, let us, we are going to check it. If it is not working then we no need to require to maintain this parameter. Where exactly we done mistake? Counter the symbol loop. Okay, we have two loops, right? Actually we remove one loop but we didn't close. So have we clear on this? Here observe this one. In 10th department it is getting 3 members are working. One second, I want to, yes, I understand what is your doubt. Okay, I will let you know. j dot DEPT number. Then here 10th department accounting New York. Now I want to remove this letters. So we are directly give the relation from there. Yes. So have you clear on this? Why we are getting that error? If you are missing the argument. In the second parameter, in second loop, we want to pass the parameter based on that value only the second parameter, sorry, second cursor data is executed. So that is the reason we are going to define one respected parameter in the first value. So here, wrong number of types of arguments in call to DEPT number. Here, we are going to pass the parameter cursor, but in second parameter, we don't have the value. We don't have any parameter in our second cursor. That is the reason we are getting this error. So if you are going to specify that cursor parameter, okay, then here, so in second parameter we have the in second cursor we have the parameter, right? So that is the reason we are going to specify the DEPT number, DEPT number as a number. Okay, so this respected, which is the parameter DEPT number is there, the DEPT data is coming from the first loop, that will be going to pass into the second parameter. Okay, so based on that condition only it is going to executed DEPT number equal to PD number. Now the respected second cursor is recognized, it is having the one parameter. So parameter means we want to pass the value, whatever it may be. If you pass any value. So here, which value we are going to pass here? Which value we are going to pass here? Which is the value is coming from the first loop, that value I am going to pass here, means the 10th department. So that is the reason we are going to specify the parameter in the second cursor. Otherwise it is not required. So here observe, the first cursor we don't have any parameter, that is the reason it is getting the result. In the second cursor we have the parameter. Okay, that is the reason we want to specify here. Whatever it may be, if you specify the parameter name, that parameter is going to pass here. Here I want to pass this value as a parameter value. This value as a parameter. Now it is going to execute it and get the output. So one second. So here yeah. Now clear? So all of you clear on this? Do you have any questions on this one? So that is the reason we want to implement the parameter cursor. So you know, for condition. What is that? Somebody is asking the question is condition, for condition. I didn't get you what is the question of that for condition.
Hello, sir.